Shalom. What's up, Facebook? Shalom to my Hebrews. That's me. It's Black History Month, so I'm going to do a real quick video getting us to, or teaching us how to self-identify, to really know who we are. They group, usually when you hear about black people, we're usually divided into two groups. You either hear black, a color, or African. And really, to be honest, we're neither one of us. So let's self-identify. We're going to start off with our DNA. Our DNA haplotype is a combination of closely linked DNA sequences on one chromosome that are often inherited together, meaning that when they're looking at your DNA, they're looking for certain things or characteristics, that match in different people, but the same characteristic in different people. A DNA haplogroup is a set of similar haplotypes inherited together, or a group who shares a set of similar haplotypes used to understand genetic lineages, meaning this is how they tell who your people are. Now, Africa is mostly made up of two haplogroups. You have the E1B1A and the E1B1B. Let's take a look at the E1B1A definition for just a second. So this haplogroup is found predominantly among the Bantu Negro descendants, to include, but not limited to, the African Limba, West Indians, Brazilians, Haitians, and other Negro-influenced races throughout the Caribbean and scattered across all different nations. Contrary to false DNA reporting, this is not sub-Saharan or Hamitic haplogroup. It is Semitic in origin. Now, I just said a whole lot. If you've been paying attention to the Kyries and the Kanyes, and they've been talking about Semitic and anti-Semitic teachings. Well, we just got a DNA definition of what Semitic was. We're going to go into it a little bit further. But first, after reading that definition, you have to first notice it said West Indians. That's not the East Indians. That's not the Indians from India. That's the Indians from here. And it says that their haplotype and our haplotype is the same. So that would mean we were here first. Like, it's in the books. They admitted it. They know we were here first. And this is, if I hear a lot of people saying we look like Indians, or Indians look like us, or blah, blah, blah. Well, of course, we got the same DNA. It's a definition right there. Now, Hamitic and Semitic DNA come from the biblical brothers Ham and Shem. In another study, we're going to have to look into the curse of Ham so you can understand, but for the sake of time, and this is a short video, we're just going to skip over. But Ham and Shem, you got to remember that all these people are black too, every one of them. But all black people aren't African, and all black people aren't Hebrew, just like all white people aren't Russian. It's the same thing. So let's see what the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, the dictionary that explains the Bible, has to say about Ham. We just seen what it had to say about Shem. It ran the Negroes. We were putting that definition. So Ham is the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. Now, man, they know who we are, not the Negroes. That's the definition in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. That book was first published in 1959. It's been revised and republished a few times. If it's in a dictionary, why come it's not in a school book? Why is it not being taught? If Ham and Shem are of the Bible, why don't pastors tell you what the difference is? This is all the stuff out of the Bible. This is the stuff I feel like we should be taught. But this is all the stuff that's left out of teachings for a reason. I need y'all to understand that. Now, you ever heard someone say the Africans don't like us? Well, that's because they know who we are too. They did accept payment from the Romans and help round us up and pack us in ships and helped lead us into captivity. They knew who we were. They knew we wasn't them just because we're the same color. They knew we were praising different. We were worshiping different. We wasn't worshiping voodoo. We had our own religion and everything. They was like, who are these people over here doing all this? We're going to get them up out of here. So they helped the Romans. They took payment and helped them capture us, basically. That also means, if you really stop to think about it, because all this happened after the destruction of Jerusalem, our ancestors weren't slaves at all. They were prisoners of war. And that's something that I think slaves was probably a better term. That's why they used it. Now, check out these maps right here. These are 1747 British maps of Africa. And I'm not really going to debate the authenticity of the map. This is Google. It's right there. But the fact that there's a map that exists that has the word Negro land across it, and more than one, as we can see. Now, if you zoom in, right where you see the slave coast, you also see the Kingdom of Judah. And we're just going to let that sink in for a second. So we were running from the Romans. We got the migrations. We're running down. Israel is Jerusalem's already been destroyed. We're running from death and captivity. We're running from slavery. We run down into Africa. Why? Because there's more black people there. We can hide. Why did Jesus go to Africa? To hide. Why did Moses go to Africa? To hide. He went to Egypt. There's more black people. We were running from the Romans, but if we flip that and call them by their more modern name, we were running from the Europeans, because Rome formed Europe. So let that sink in. It tells us who our enemies are. It's a little different when you say it like that, don't it? So we're down into Africa now. A slave trade that's not talked about a lot at all over here anyway. It's never taught in America, but the Arab slave trade. They had way more people than the transatlantic slave trade. And it's also where our people picked up the Muslim religion. If you think about it, we had our own religion. We've been through all these captivities. Now we're running from the Romans. We got caught. Now we're sold to the Muslims. The Muslims were buying our women. Everybody loves our women. The Muslims were buying our women just for concubines, just for wives. And they were breeding. They were breeding our women like they were cattle. And if you think about it, when these little boys are born, you have Muslim royalty. They're not teaching their sons our Hebrew religion. They're teaching their sons the Muslim religion. And we have 1,300 years of that. That was the longest slave trade. The Dark Ages were really, really dark ages. They were killing and murdering us left and right and throwing us into captivity. So you got 1,300 years of another religion mixing in with our Hebrew religion. And that's where we get some of the, like I say, a lot of our Muslim brothers or whatever. I don't knock anything. It's just not our original. That's somebody else's. Now, out of the transatlantic slave trade, that's the trade, since this is Black History Month, we're going to talk about us over here a little bit. Okay, Deuteronomy 28, verse 68 says,
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. And no man shall buy you.
Now, first off, out of that, when it says no man shall buy you, it means you should not be freed in this nation, and we're not free. We get up every day. We go to work for American corporations. As a symbol of status, we go buy from European companies. All the companies that sent us over here and killed our ancestors. It's crazy how that works. Louis, Prada, Gucci, everything that's in a rap song. Those are all owned by the Romans. So our symbol of status, what we say when we go get a Mercedes Benz, we're buying a German car, and we say we're somebody because we bought from the people who killed our ancestors. Now, also, man, the Bible says I'm gonna send you to Egypt again in ships. Well, Egypt is a Greek word, first off. It's not an African word. So Egypt means one or two things. You could take the word Tameri, T-A-M-E-R-I. You put it in Google, you're going to get an ancient city in Egypt. But if you take the T out and go A-M-E-R-I and add a C and an A, you get America. One way of looking at it. Or Egypt means Mizraim, and according to the Bible, Mizraim is bondage. So that statement, I'm going to send you back to Egypt again in ships, could have very easily had read, I'm going to send you back to bondage in ships. This is where we got to start worrying about translations, and we really need to put our thinking caps on. Out of the transatlantic slave trade, America only seen about 10% of that. About 4 million slaves were brought to America. And we were brought here. Everybody knows the story of slavery, the 400 years. In my opinion, and I'll say that I'm not a pastor, so I can say what I want to. You know, I'm just out here teaching what I think is in this book. But in my opinion, the Civil War happened because it was the last time that Israel, Judah, really, which was mixed with the tribe of Benjamin, but we're going to say the last time Israel was able to cry out to the Most High with our original language. They thought we were singing hymns. They thought we was out there, you know, enjoying life, being good little old slaves. We were crying to God. God, we can't deal with this. This is too much. They're doing too much to us. So the Most High heard us. And that's the problem now. We're crying to Democrats and Republicans to fix our life. He heard us. When he heard us then, guess what happened? You get the Civil War. So at that point, our captors, they understood, oh, no. There's a spiritual battle being fought here. They already knew that anyway. So they understood, hey, let's release them, because not only were they scared of the Most High, they were scared of the slave revolts. We was revolting. We was fighting back. So with not wanting to lose the country, they freed the slaves and said, well, if we make them feel like they are part of us, then we got better slaves. They go work just because you tell them to. You make them feel good about themselves. This is where I'm gonna stop this video right here. My next video is coming up very shortly, and it's going to touch on everything done to us in America, the psychological warfare. And I'm saying from the buck breaking, definitely our music. I'm talking about if every bit of our music isn't demonic. Let me hit that real quick though. Everybody says that, oh, it's just music, it's just rap, it's just this, it's just that. Well, hell, I grew up on it too. I grew up on UGK, 8 Ball, MJG. I grew up on everything that y'all grew up on, Master P, everything. We say, oh, we don't listen to the words, we just listen to the beat. Well, the beat is witchcraft. The beat allows you to remember the words. The beat makes you dance. You could be sitting still. Let Cash Money come on for the 99 and the 2000. What's finna happen? Somebody's finna get up and the beat is controlling you. Once you remember the words to the song, remember there's power in the tongue. There's no on and off switch to that either. So now you're repeating every trap song, every thug song, every word, every death. You're speaking it loud into existence. And you say, well, oh, my people, I ain't never killed nobody. It doesn't have to. All they have to do is get half of us, or some of us. And it's our youngsters that they're getting. But that's a whole nother video that we're going to get into, because I'm going to touch everything out of the Bible. I'm not just going to do it with me just sitting here talking. But that's all. I want you to understand our DNA. That's what the video was about today. Shalom. Hey, I'll see the rest of y'all later.